I lost my dad at an early age. And then I moved countries, I got married, all the corporate challenges, I think. But the final thing was I was married for nearly a decade and my marriage fell apart. I think that kind of pushed me into, it was the rock bottom for me. So that pushed me into making the change. I had this, when I was going through the divorce, I had this realization that I have to change something because I had a daughter and she was learning from everything that I'm doing. And for me, that was the biggest motivation, that if I can change anything in her life, even if it's halfway there, and if I can stop the trauma and the pain from traveling to her, then I will do whatever it takes.
That must have been tough to see your daughter understand maybe what you're going through, because we take on sometimes the pain from our parents and then we replicate it, and then unknowingly we pass it on to maybe our children and then they'll replicate it, and then it just continues going. There has to be that one person that's going to say enough is enough, I want to make something different. So when you're going through your difficult time in your marriage and then you're looking at your daughter, did you see yourself in her and what could have been if you didn't break the cycle?
Yes, I saw it both ways actually. So I saw me replicating what my mom was doing and some of the pain that she's carrying. I saw that. And even sometimes it's really not our fault. Things happen to us and there is a reason why it happens to us. So I could see the pattern repeating. So first of all, I could see how I've taken on my mom's pain. And then my daughter at that point was only like 5 or 6. I could see some of the things she would say, and she's very innocent at that age. She doesn't really understand everything at that age, but some of the things she used to say, and I was like, oh my God, I say that all the time. And that's when I realized that I need to, this pain is traveling through generations, this guilt is traveling through generations. So I need to do whatever I can to put a stop to it if I can.
Was that something that you made it like your mission to do so? And was it that important to you to make sure that it didn't get repeated?
Yes, so that was the motivation. But I had two choices. I could either stay there as a victim, be miserable, and we spoke about this, right? Victim and victor, your words, victim and or victor. I could be the victim. I could stay there and make my life and my daughter's life miserable, just unhappy life. Or I could do something about it and at least try to come out of it. So for me, it was at that point, it was I need to get out of this situation. I need to get out of the pain, basically, so that I can give my daughter a better life.
For me, when I was growing up, I saw many things I didn't like. And as I was sharing, and for those who follow my journey, growing up without my mother, my father, there's things that I realize now that I missed out on. But I wouldn't change it just because the people I grew up around who taught me family, taught me culture, became so important to me that they're my true family. Because I always believe that we should be giving more importance to the family that we choose, the ones around us, not necessarily that the ones that we have no control over. For example, you can have a mother or father that treats you very poorly, but you're like, well, they're my mom and dad, and it's okay. Whereas if there's someone on the street who's treating you the same way, you would even look at them the same way, right? So I try to judge people based on the behavior. So many of the clients that you do it, Kshama, do you find them struggling with trying to understand what is it that they want out of their relationships and how to get it?
Absolutely. I think the biggest challenge I've seen in my clients is lack of clarity. And I can say this from my own experience as well. We don't know what we want, what we need, and what are our own values. So this is when we get into a relationship, or when not only a romantic relationship, any kind of relationship, when we don't understand ourselves, we are just listening to what the other people are saying. We have a story that this is right, this is wrong, without really understanding why. And that's when everything starts to go wrong, because you're just following somebody's footsteps, which may not be for you.
So what happens in that case when you're trying to push them? Well, I shouldn't say push them because no one likes to be pushed, right? What are some of the ways that you get them to the point along that journey? Because I know for me, it wasn't easy in the beginning, But once I got some momentum and some success, then the later stages of those changes were a lot easier than the beginning. So how do you get them to understand that the journey is not going to be a 1 day thing, a 30-day thing? It may take a couple of years.
Um, in a lot of cases, I don't get them to understand it's going to take a couple of years because a lot of people give up if they think it's going to take me 5 years. What I do start with is small steps. I think, and we spoke about this, right? It's the relationship. So awareness, clarity is the biggest thing. And how do you become aware is by going inward, is by becoming aware of yourself, by understanding yourself, by understanding the relationship you have with yourself. Most clients that have come to me have always focused on the other. The fingers are always pointing towards somebody else, towards a situation. It's like they're the victim. It's not their fault. They don't take responsibility. Nothing. It's all about them, and that's the biggest challenge. I think that's the biggest, I would say, the milestone for any coaching client that I've had.